With more and more threats to our religious liberty presenting themselves, this has a lot of people questioning, is it possible that we're going to see another coming civil war? Are we going to see that in our lifetimes? And there's actually quite a few reasons to believe that that might be the case, specifically around one very controversial issue. So we're going to talk about all of this and more on today's Peck Report. All right, everybody. Hope you are doing well. I, of course, am Josh Peck, and this is Peck Report. So recently, our vice president talked about threats to our religious liberty and what we as Christians should be doing about it, what we as a country should be doing about it. I mean, there's more looming threats towards Christianity in other countries. I mean, certainly there's a lot of Christian persecution going on, a lot of martyrdom, a lot of people being killed for their faith in the Middle East and in China and lots of places around the world. Recent studies have come out showing that Christianity is the most persecuted group right now, possibly of all history. And we don't want to see that happen in our own country. You know, of course, we don't want to see that here. We have a lot of freedom in the U.S., but there are those who want to take our freedom away, especially our religious liberty. So, what are we supposed to do about it? How do we stop it before it comes? You know, I mean, the world has a propensity to persecute Christians. You know, that's what the world is going to do, and America is set up in a way where we shouldn't really be seeing that. You know, we shouldn't. It shouldn't be as prevalent as the rest of the world. So how do we get ahead of this thing? Well, in his recent address to the 2019 graduates of Liberty University, and again this week, an interview with Shannon Bream of Fox News, Vice President Mike Pence raised the issue of religious liberty. So the vice president spoke of recent assaults on religious believers around the world, including attacks on the most fundamental of American rights here at home. So he explained that, quote, throughout most of American history, it's been pretty easy to call yourself Christian. It didn't even occur to people that you might be shunned or ridiculed for defending the teachings of the Bible, but things are different now. Some of the loudest voices for tolerance today have little tolerance for traditional Christian values, end quote. And we see that a lot, and we should expect it because it's prophetic. You know, we know prophetically that that's going to happen. Things like that are going to get worse and worse towards Christians. But Pence's remarks raised the question, you know, what must Americans do to stem the tide of bigotry? Fox News recently reported on this on their website if you want to check it out. But, you know, the answer might actually not be easy, but it's simple. You know, we have to return to a common understanding of the bedrock principles upon which our nation was founded. And that certainly is not easy because many of us in our country are divided and we have different values altogether. Now, the First Amendment prohibits government from establishing a state-preferred religion or prohibiting the free exercise of religious beliefs, but we have allowed the interpretation of these phrases to stray so far from their clear intent that the mere presence of religious symbols in the public square are decried as unconstitutional, you know, like the Bladensburg World War I Veterans Memorial in Maryland. The Supreme Court will soon render its decision on the constitutionality of the nearly 100-year-old memorial. So it's ridiculous to think about that we're at that place in a country, and it's only going downhill. It's only going to get worse. I think a lot of it is because we have a lot of lukewarm Christians that aren't really doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not really standing up for this stuff, and they're just kind of letting it go. On top of that, we also have to deal a lot with YouTube censorship, where YouTube will just take down videos. We've seen that on this channel plenty of times. That's why many of you have become members. Is because of that. Because on the member site, we can put up whatever we want. You know, we can put up all the content, we can say whatever we want and not have to worry about it. But on platforms like Facebook or YouTube, we have to be more careful. Free exercise of religion is too often referred to as the freedom of worship, which that would confine religious freedom to the pews of our houses of worship or the minds of the faithful. So it's supposed to be free exercise of religion, and again, it's too often referred to as the freedom of worship. So, for example, in a recent New York Times opinion piece headlined, "We Are Taking Religious Freedom Too Far," Margaret Renke wrote, quote, "The Constitution protects the right to believe whatever I want to believe," end quote. Now, there's nothing wrong with this analysis that doesn't fit neatly into the word everything. There is no other context in history, in the history of the English language, where the word exercise does not imply and require action. Only in this one instance, so crucial to the American way, really to the American way of life, does anyone attempt to equate exercise with belief. If all that was required of me to have, six-pack abs was to believe in my mind and heart that I do, I would look more like the original Thor instead of the current Endgame version. But think about that, though. That's why definitions are so important. And we're headed into a future where the culture does think like that. You just think that you are something and automatically you are. Not only that, but everybody around you has to conform to that opinion. Now, the results of this persuasion of the free exercise clause are as tragic as they are predictable. So people from all walks of life are faced with the impossible dilemma of choosing between their deepest convictions and their livelihood. People like Washington State high school football coach Joe Kennedy, who was fired from his coaching position for kneeling at the 50-yard line after games for a 15 to 30-second silent prayer. That type of kneeling apparently is wrong, but Colin Kaepernick, for his reasons, that's just fine, apparently. Or there's Melissa Klein, who lost her family business, Sweet Cakes by Melissa, when she referred to same-sex couple, when she referred a same-sex couple to another bakery for their wedding cake. The state of Oregon imposed a $135,000 penalty, essentially bankrupting her private business because the state disagreed with the religious beliefs of the owner. There's another firm, First Liberty Institute, that the Lathan Watts is defending Kennedy, Klein, and the Blandensburg Memorial. However, the courtroom is the last line of defense, so it's really our culture that has to be won to preserve, our most cherished liberty. There was once a phrase common in public debate: "I disagree with everything you say, but I would die to defend your right to say it." But sadly, that notion has disappeared from our common discourse, and it's been replaced with "I disagree with everything you say, and therefore you shouldn't be allowed to say it." There's more than collective cognitive dissonance here. There's an existential threat to the life of our republic. The classic song "Me and Bobby McGee" includes the lyrics, "Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose." So as the vice president has aptly illustrated, and current litigation demonstrates, without a return to the founders' vision of religious freedom, we may soon discover the truth of those lyrics. And sadly, that it seems like that is where we're headed in this country, just as and this culture. We're trying to be like the rest of the world, and us as Christians, we're not doing enough about it. And that doesn't mean that we just keep doing more of the same thing. We need to change our tactics altogether to win back the culture, and that's incredibly important if we want to continue on with our religious liberties. It's not only that, it's truly life and death, and not just because of the martyrdom. I mean, there is that. We know that that's where this leads. It's not just that, though. Right now, because of the culture, millions upon millions upon millions of people are dying who haven't even had the chance to be born yet. And there's a big question about if that is going to signal another civil war. And we definitely have to talk about that. Before we do, though, I have got to tell you about Ultimate Bundles Healthy Meal Planning. You'll want to pick this up because mealtime is difficult. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just have all the work done for you? You know how to provide a healthy meal for your family without spending a whole bunch of time in the kitchen and without doing a whole bunch of research. Well, it's done for you. So you can thank me later. You can thank me by clicking on the link in the description below or going to dailyrenegade.com. But the Ultimate Bundles Healthy Meal Planning is fantastic. It has over 1,000 whole food recipes. There's 38 done-for-you meal plans to choose from. There's 5 ebooks, 5 e-courses. There's nutritional info for every recipe. It's indexed by dietary needs and health goals, and it integrates with a Real Plan app. And ultimately, what it means is you spend less time in the kitchen. So there's as much information available as you want, but you can jump right in without getting into any of it. You can just jump right in and start cooking today. Cooking healthy meals for yourself and your family. It does everything for you. So you want to check this out, click on the link in the description below, or go to dailyrenegade.com. And while you're there, make sure you become a member of Daily Renegade. The reason that it's important to become a member is because there's a lot of things that we talk about that is not available on YouTube, that we can't talk about on YouTube because they will remove the video or delete the channel. And, we need to be able to talk about this kind of stuff. We need to be able to have a free exchange of ideas. And that's what we have over at Daily Renegade. It's fantastic. You want to become a member. So do that today to have access to full, ad-free, and exclusive videos that you can't find anywhere else because nowhere else will allow them. You'll get full episodes of Peck Report. You'll get the real meat of Peck Report that you don't get on YouTube. And again, it's not by choice. It's not because I'm just withholding it from you. Believe me, I would love to put it out there for free for everybody the way that I used to be able to do. But unfortunately, we can't do that anymore. YouTube has really clamped down on the censorship stuff, unfortunately. So you'll get the real meat of all of our shows. Anything that you see on this YouTube channel, by the way, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell for notifications. YouTube is getting rid of our subscribers. That's another new trick that they're doing. But so make sure you subscribe and click the bell. But everything you see here on YouTube is really just an appetizer version of the full meat that you get at Daily Renegade. So you'll get full episodes of Peck Report with myself. You'll get Apolloneering with Seth McVeigh, The Christian Contrarian with Gary Wayne. You'll also get Through the Black Uncensored with Jared Cressman and Tom Dunn. And you'll get The Z Files with the fine folks at BioWarrior and many, many more things available. You'll also have full access to our members-only message board, which is turning into a full-blown forum. Actually, the whole website is right now undergoing a new redesign. That should be available very shortly. But for right now, it's a message board, and you can take part in that, and it's where hosts and viewers can fellowship together. It's a great place. But a membership to Daily Renegade is only $10 a month or $100 a year, which that is the better deal because then you get 2 months for free. You just pay once and you don't have to think about it for a whole year. But either way, it works out to being less than a cup of coffee a day. It breaks down to you having access to 3 or 4 videos, sometimes more, for every $1 of your membership. Also, we're adding a lot of things. So once we start doing online conferences, what we're going to look into doing, being a member is going to be able to get you some discounts. We're also going to have a full store. We're doing a whole store full of a lot of cool stuff. We want to provide discounts to our members so that your membership is buying more than just extra videos. It is that, but you're getting a lot more. You're also going to be able to have censorship-free fellowship with the rest of the Daily Renegade family. So, show YouTube that we don't need to rely on their satanic platform. Let's show them that we can do our own thing, and really we should be anyway. We should be relying on ourselves anyway, instead of an evil, twisted corporation. like YouTube and all these social media platforms. Let's show them that we don't need them. Let's do our own thing. So come and be a member today. Go click on the link in the description below, or just go to dailyrenegade.com and sign up. You'll want to make sure you do that as soon as possible, because we never know how much longer we're going to have this YouTube channel. Especially talking about things like we talk about today. I mean, it's only a matter of time. Even though we for YouTube versions of stuff we really condense it down, it's still ultimately not enough. In order for us to ensure that we can keep a YouTube channel, we would have to drastically change our message. We would have to not talk about Jesus anymore, and we would have to not have the values that we have, and we're just not going to do that. No Christian should. I would rather lose the channel than do that. So, I mean, think about it. If we're going to say I would rather lose my life than do that, than deny Jesus, then certainly we should be willing to lose our YouTube channel or our social media platform. But in the meantime, we got to make sure that we can stay afloat and survive as a ministry, and provide you a place where you can fellowship and we can all fellowship together. And we live in a world where, unfortunately, that kind of thing costs money. So that is what Daily Renegade is all about, but we are dedicated to making sure you get a lot of bang for your buck. And we want to make sure that you get more value than what you have to put in. So all that being said, please be a member. All right, and we're going to talk about the possibility of a coming civil war around one major issue, and I think this actually could happen. And I believe me, I hate the idea of war, but in order to save tens of millions of lives of people who are being slaughtered in this country every single day, and you probably know what I'm talking about, where I'm getting at, I think that would be a fight worth having. I think that if it's going to save that many lives, and if it's going to change the culture enough to get this wicked ideology out of America, then we need it out of the world. Then by all means. Now, my solution ultimately is Jesus Christ. My solution is to say, instead of that, let's go and evangelize and make disciples of all nations. Let's get people to have a relationship with Jesus and really take the gospel seriously and all that. If we do that, this won't be a problem anymore, because no one will have the desire to take part in it. But unfortunately, that's not happening. That's not happening as much as it should. So because of that, who knows? But we have to entertain other possibilities. And look, I'm not saying that we should go and get this started. That's not at all what I'm saying. We absolutely shouldn't do that. We can't take these matters into our own hands in that way. The only thing we personally should be doing is taking the responsibility of the Great Commission. We should be going and evangelizing people, not taking their lives. But at the same time, there's such an outcry over this one issue, the country might be headed towards that way. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that and more. But again, because of YouTube, we are going to have to save that for Daily Renegade members only. So make sure you become a member of Daily Renegade today. And if you're viewing this on YouTube or Facebook, make sure you subscribe, click the bell for notifications for YouTube, Facebook. Make sure you like the page, follow the page, the official Daily Renegade page. And all that being said, for non-members, thank you so much. See you next time. Take care and God bless.